On a rather small door, we have a man, and his hands are up as if saying, "Arrest me." It's quite a comical pose, but when we look deeper, we see how he has a quite lost expression on his face. His eyes are closed, his mouth is open. He has a sword in one hand and another type of weapon, very small and blunt. He has a crown on his head, not like a royal crown, but more a tribe. You can tell that it's quite a natural token of authority and respect. He has quite an elongated neck and an elongated torso, and throughout his body he has these little white scars, and they are symbols of scarification. I'm Teoni, I'm 17 years old from Oxford Buyers Academy, and I've been doing some workshops here at Pitt Rivers. Over the course of these workshops, I have become increasingly interested in scarification, and I'm here with a friend.
Hi, my name is Abigail. I am 16 years old and I'm from Oxford Buyers Academy also. Today we're going to explore the concept of scarification, why people do it and what it means to them. I'm standing in front of a cabinet dedicated to scarification. I'm just going to read one of the labels. It says that scarification is when people permanently mark their skin by cutting it. It's most widely practiced in Africa but also done in other parts of the world. At the beginning of the 21st century, scarification was growing in popularity among some groups of people in Europe and the USA. So I did some research of my own and I discovered that scarification is something that people of Africa would do when they first begin puberty and when they start becoming a full woman or a full man. It was a mark of identity and a sign of beauty, but also a mark of status and respect, especially in men who would go out and kill and hunt and fight. It would be a sign of bravery. Another thing that was important about it was the pain that you endure while getting the scar. There's a quote by a Tiv man in Nigeria. He said, "Of course it's painful. Why would a girl look at a man if his scars had not caused him pain?" More respect comes from the pain that you endure while getting the scars. You can kind of compare it to a trophy. You're marking it on your body to show other people, as well as yourself, what you've been through.
Picking up on what Abigail was saying about pain, in the cabinet there are several tools that they would have used in scarification, primarily from the 1940s. We have a hook with which they would dig some skin and raise it and then slice it with a blade, and that would cause a raised scar. They would also use a piece of metal, often dirty, so one can imagine the health problems that would come along with that, to slightly graze the skin and then scar it, and then irritate it with ash, charcoal and cashew nuts, which would also raise it or keep it flat. So coming back to the idea of pain and that beauty is pain, we still have that mentality today, but we were discussing that it's shallower today. Okay, we have tattooing, which is very similar, a needle, like the piece of metal that they used, to perhaps mark a stage in life. But on the other side of that, we have plastic surgery, in which you completely change your body, making yourself a certain type of beautiful in order to conform to Western ideals of a certain body type, shape, etc. Speaking of Western ideals, what is really interesting, which I've learned over these past couple of workshops, is that scarification was once labelled as deformation. Did you know that, Abigail?
No, actually I didn't. For me, because my family, my dad comes from Africa, he's from Nigeria, and we're really big on culture and tradition. It would have been right for them to use the original name, scarification, to show respect to the tradition and the origin, and to the people who take part in scarification.
I agree, especially because I find it interesting that the name was only changed to scarification as opposed to deformation, when in the 21st century, scarification grew in popularity in Western countries. So when the West does it, it then acquires its proper term again, scarification as opposed to deformation. But when it's alien or foreign to them, it's judged and labelled incorrectly.
I also think that relates to taking a culture and not respecting it and not giving credit to this line of tradition that's been passed down from generations. Even now, people still do it. And I think it is really important to give credit where credit is due.
We can't have one culture label another culture's beauty when we all have different ideas of beauty, and we have to respect those differences and not label it something based on a certain idea that we have when beauty can't be defined.
I agree with you, and I also think that modern ideology does influence how these things are labelled, and we tend to shy away from the originators, and that ties into cultural appropriation when we're not giving the proper respect to the originators. Beauty does come in different forms and different ways, and there shouldn't just be one perspective in the labelling. It should be from multiple perspectives because everyone has their own different idea of beauty.